Well, g'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a pretty interesting job on. We are pregnancy scanning our ewes. Now, yeah I know, the beard's gone. Jamie Mackay on The Country made comment about a certain Rod Carr, and you can't trust men with long beards. Old philosophy, full of shit, but I don't want any similarities drawn between him and me. So the beard is gone, it'll come and go a little bit, but certainly won't get long again. So anyway, pregnancy scanning. Pregnancy scanning these ewes, find out how many lambs they're having so we can feed them accordingly, both now and spreading out for lambing time. So we've actually finished the job, currently letting these girls go. Had some interesting results. We've got a wee bit of footage of the job, so let's go and have a look at that. Girls aren't very keen on going through that gate. See, there's not a lot of feed over there. This isn't us. There is quite a lot of feed here. However, they will do what they're told. Come on, girls. Eventually. There's the first mob back on crop. So these girls are the ones that we took out as lights in January. Go back and look at the video back then, you'll see what we're doing then, the condition scoring. They've held up pretty well. They scanned 184%, which means for every ewe, on average, there's 1.84 lambs. There's a wee few dries in there, not too many. Quite a few singles, not too many triplets. Yeah, they did pretty well, these girls. So in this mob currently, we've got the twins and the singles. Normally we'd keep the singles separate, but yeah, with the number of mobs we've got already, the last thing I needed to have was a mob of single parentals and a mob of single terminals, because that's going to take us to like 9 mobs of sheep. So we've just left them in here. There's a few more singles than we thought, which is, given the season, not a bad thing. Anyway, that's that mob. We'll go and get the next mob of these, the bigger, fatter ones, get them sorted. And then there's a few other points we've got to go over, because there's been a couple of interesting findings today. There goes the second mob away. So this lot did 189%. So 1.89 lambs. Look at those bloody ducks. They know the season's over. Yeah, 1.89 lambs per ewe, which is still a little bit back on last year. Once again, singles are still in here too. You can see the blue dots on some of them moving through. So twins get nothing and singles get a blue dot. We're going to see how that goes. But yeah, these girls have done pretty well. There goes the terminal mob running out without their triplets. Right, so we're just going to let them make their way up to the crop paddock, which is just over behind that baleage. We'll go and chase these ones up, because we just sort of let them go out there, shut the gates and let these other ones go. And then we'll come back and lock them on, and then we've still got 2 mobs in here to go. There they go, making their way back onto crop. Slim bringing up the rear. Over there. Oh, you heard me say his name. Hey dude. You Slim. You Slim. See, you can't see. You Slim. You got tunnel vision, haven't you, dude? Hey, we have to give Steel a run one day soon. Tomorrow maybe. Get those dries, give her a wee run on those and see how she goes. My bloody sheep are shutting the gate on themselves. We'll see, might be alright. I'll work it out there, girls. I know it looks quite like there's not a lot of feed there, but you see, we'll go and have a look, I'll show you. Just over there, there's a heap of feed from that other break. There we go, heaps of feed. Just taking the tops off, bulbs are all still there. So there's two big surprises that come out of today. One is really, really positive, and the other is quite negative. But, oops, I don't like dwelling on the negative stuff, so we'll make a start on that, and then we'll finish on the positive later on. So you might remember back in, must have been March, late February, early March, we had a couple of occurrences where neighbours' rams were getting in with their ewes, and I was quite angry at the time, and that's proven to be, yeah, I was right to be angry. Anyway, we have got 30 odd ewes here that are early. Now we've already got an early mob. They are due to start lambing 23rd of August. That's planned, that's awesome. They're all ewes that were sent into the works this year. They're, you know, freezer ewes, whatever you want to call them. So they're lambing early, so we can get rid of them early and hopefully some lambs. These ewes here are my mixed age ewes that I wanted to keep replacements from, and they've gone to a blackface or a terminal ram, like a Suffolk or something, don't know what it is. Anyway, that is annoying for many, many reasons. But we'll get into some feed, eh? There we go. So why is this so annoying? See this girl here? She's gone staggery. That's not good. We'll get these other ones out to grass, right here. They don't want to go through the gate. And then we'll deal to her very quick, because that's not good. So they're all quite happy. Nothing looking of any concern in there. That's good, that's great, because, yeah, we'll get there in a minute. So this right here is a product called Glucophos. It's basically a, I don't know what it is, sugar supplement, milk fever, ketosis, and grass staggers. Grass staggers is what I believe she's probably got. I can never tell them apart. There's a product called Calpramag, is probably a better one, but I don't have any on hand right now. So we're going to get 100 mils of this into her. Now I'm not going to show you how we do that. Well, I'll show you how we do it. Put a needle on the end of this hose. Now this looks a bit grubby, but that is still sealed, hasn't been opened yet. Everyone's got their own way of doing it. Everyone's a critic, everyone's an expert. But we just poke it in the right hand side and just try and get about 100 mils of the stuff in around the intestine so that it's really quickly absorbed and gives her a boost. But this alone will not save her. We've still got to get her out to grass, so we'll grab a trailer and get her out there fast. Now look at that, guys, 30 seconds that stuff's been in and she's now moving. We'll see if we can get her to walk out of the yards. Good girl. So all this stuff does is give them a big burst of energy so they'll actually get up and eat some grass. But back to my point about these rams. So these ewes are in lamb super early. Hang on, she's just gone behind the scales. Basically, because I've got a neighbour, Slim, go get up, that wants to put his rams on my boundary, and a really bad time of year to do that. I have now got 31 sheep that are due to start lambing any day. The scanner man, once they're past 120 days gestation, he can't tell anymore. Gestation's only 145 days. He's told me every single one of these sheep is 120 plus. Now some people might sit there and say, hey, that's some early lambs, and yeah, there is some truth to that. They will be early lambs, and if we do things right, they could be very profitable lambs in November, maybe. We'll see. They could not. We're in Southland. The next stop land-wise from here is Antarctica. July, lambing, we can get some bloody nasty weather. The grass doesn't grow at this time of year. The grass doesn't grow until realistically September. We get a little bit of growth late August. We're now going to have to put these ewes on a paddock we were going to graze with ewes pre-lamb, and then we were going to set stock on with about 45 to 50 ewes, Now we're not going to get to graze it, and we're going to stick 30 ewes on there, and I would say that'll struggle to hold them. That is a magical transformation. If I hadn't done that, that ewe would most likely died. If I'd been half an hour later to get into the yards, she would probably have died. She may still, hope not, hope she's okay now. Keep going, girl. Anyway, there's another massive issue with what's happened here. We put our rams out on a certain date, we know when they're going to lamb. Ewes don't lamb more than a few days early. We're guaranteed to have everything off crop 15 days before they lamb. Not anymore. It's illegal to have ewes lamb on crop for a very good reason. My neighbour has just probably made it that I'm going to wind up breaking the law. And there's nothing I can do about it. We've just farmed through a drought, as a lot of you guys will know. Our only real winter feed is our crop. Now the scanner, there's only so much he can do. He said 120 days plus is in this mob. Yeah, so we're currently around 85, 90 days gestation. These ewes are a full 30 days early. They could be 55 days early. So we know when they're going to lamb, but there could be ewes in those two mobs that are between today, you know, what are we talking, say 85, 90 days, and 120. And we don't know when they're going to lamb. So, and there's nothing we can do. We can't find them. So that prick has caused some serious potential animal welfare issues. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on this. We will just keep an eye out for udders bagging up. You don't get a lot of warning with that. We may run them through the yards every 3 or 4 days and try and pull them out. That's not real precise either. But please, if you're a ram breeder, from basically a month after the longest day, right through until the shortest day, keep your bloody mobs of rams off the boundary, eh? Like, yeah, fair enough if they're in a mob of ewes, yeah, that's fine. Accidents happen. Putting a mob of rams on a boundary with a sheep breeding neighbour is just a horrible asshole of a thing to do. So yeah, there they go. Got a fed 800 ewes in here for 8 days. 2 4-day breaks in this paddock. Look at all this grass. And I would suggest that by the time we get to the end of August, this paddock will be bare. Lovely. There's our girl. There. How's that for a transformation though, eh? That stuff bloody works a treat. She went from not being able to walk, being staggery and jittery and not knowing what was what, to just walking about 400 or 500 metres. Now she's on all this feed. Fingers crossed she'll be okay. Come back and check her in the morning. But looking at her there like that, I think she's going to be alright. There you go, the terminals on crop. Just twins and singles again on a fresh break. Anyway, positivity. Triplets. Never been a big fan of triplets. Not when we get 350 sets a year. That hurts. Hey, part of having sheep that are quite high fertility and yeah, do lamb well and scan well. This year, 120. That's awesome. I think we can work quite well with 120. So most of the drop in scanning that we've had, that's the dries, we'll look at them in a minute. Most of the drop in scanning that we've had has been a reduction in triplet ewes. That's awesome. Triplet ewes are painful. Triplet ewes have a higher death rate, the ewe death rate. They lose a lot more lambs. They tend to lamb at a lower percentage than our twin ewes. So if we can reduce the number of triplet ewes, that's awesome. It's also good this year because we don't quite have the grass feed around. So we know we've got enough paddocks with enough grass to lamb them on. We can look after them really well. They are going to go back on crop for a couple of weeks. Just we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think just to try and get this crop used up. But that's awesome. That gives us way more options for the year. And potentially, from a lower scanning, we might wind up with a higher lambing. We'll see how that goes. But it's possible. And yeah, then this last bit. Dries. Now, who would have thought we could find positivity in dry sheep? But my wife and I have just finished our first year trading on our own, new business venture, whatever you want to call it, new setup. We've stretched things to the hilt this last year, just, you know, fencing, repairs, maintenance, make sure everything's all up order, so that this year when we have to pay 2 years of tax, we should have the income to be able to do it. Now, that does mean that cash flow is a little bit tight at the moment. We've got enough, but it is a bit tight. They're worth good money. we don't have a surplus of feed around. So 3% dries, that's actually not a bad thing in my eyes. They're worth bloody good money. So we're going to get them all sold hopefully the next couple of weeks, and that'll just mean that we know for sure we have enough to get through to when the money starts coming in, because sheep farming in Southland, there's a big lull in cash flow, and it tends to be when all the bills go out, and that is start of winter to the end of spring. There's not much money comes in until we start killing lambs in late December, early January, and that will make life a lot easier. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like what you're seeing, and we will catch you next time. Oh, I did forget to mention too, those triplet ewes are just going out. They're going to have that paddock and that other one up there for tonight, because I don't have their break set up. And they got triplets in them. They can be looked after, they can have some grass. And tomorrow we'll get them set up on crop. Also, I did forget to mention our overall scanning this year. So dries are up 1 percentage point. We're at 3% dries instead of 2. Hey look, we had a really bad summer, pretty bad autumn. I'm wrapped with that. These ewes have done really well. What else have we got? We've got more singles. That's not really the end of the world. We did say when we hit sort of March, we didn't have a lot of grass around. We're all sort of sitting there going, well maybe we don't want high scannings this year. It would have been nice to have a great number. Last year though and the year before were exceptional. So comparing them to those 2 years when we did 191 and 193 is a bit rough. So they pulled up 175 in total. We've got a marginal number less twins, but we've gone down 100 ewes overall. So actually the twin ratio has gone up a little bit, and the triplets come way down from 350 odd to 120. So that's wicked. So all in all, we're pretty stoked with how the season's gone. With how the stock have dealt with the season, how we've managed to work around the season, and fingers crossed next season is just a normal, straight, mildly wet summer with no COVID restrictions or any other thing, and we can get by and just get back to doing what we used to do, which is growing big lambs in the autumn and feeding our ewes like crazy.